Have you ever dreamt of being a millionaire? Well, turning 1K into 1 million is actually pretty simple, but not everyone can do it. Are you ready to become a millionaire? Let's find out. What's up? My name is Caroline and this is WealthinProgress, where you'll learn how to make passive income with cryptocurrencies. In this video, I'll show you how you can turn 1K dollars into $1 million. Now, this might sound like an impossible endeavor, especially within the time span of a couple of months, but it's actually pretty simple. And you need a few prerequisites and characteristics in order to make it work. So this strategy won't work for everyone, and it will likely only work for you if you've already got some experience in the crypto space. Now, one thing you absolutely need is an understanding of market movements, not only of technical analysis, aka reading charts, but what's even more important is understanding what whales are doing and how they influence the markets. This is not only crucial in order to become a millionaire, but in order to grow your portfolio in general. Now, we're actually hosting a completely free masterclass where you'll learn all of that. We'll show you how to predict pumps and crashes, how to buy the bottom and sell the top, and how to trade like smart money. So if you want to become a millionaire, I highly recommend joining our free masterclass by going in the description, clicking on the first link and signing up. You'll then receive an invitation for the masterclass very soon. All right, let's dive in. Now, the first absolutely crucial thing you need if you want to turn 1K into 1 million is having money to spare. So you can only invest money that you can absolutely afford to lose in this strategy, because otherwise, your emotions will get the better of you. Your emotions will be very hard to control anyways, but if it's money that you actually need somewhere else, that's gonna kill you, literally. That's gonna be way too much to handle. So really, really important, only take money that you can totally afford to lose, that you won't shed a tear if it's gone. Now, when I'm saying you can turn 1K into 1 million, you might think, oh, I'll just have to find a 100x or 1000x and that's it, right? Or one or two of those. So you might go into CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, look at the large movers, and then we see that there's some pretty crazy coins that have almost 10x's within a day. So maybe not right now, but there are days where there are coins that make over 10,000% easily. Now, that's not at all the strategy that I'll share with you, because these are extremely risky. All of those super high pumpers are usually pump and dump kind of things. So simply looking at pump coins and then buying into them, assuming that they'll pump even more, is extremely risky and not at all what I would recommend. In fact, you don't need any 100x coins for this, and that's what makes this strategy so valuable and so simple. You don't even need 10x coins. All you need are 3x to 5x's. Now, let me explain. First of all, if you just wanted to go from 1K to 1 million in one blow, you'd need a 1000x. Now, that's extremely difficult to find unless you get into IDOs. I've shared lots of those IDOs in the past, and they have made super good gains up to 500x on one or two IDOs. But the downside to that is that you'll only be able to invest a very small amount. So I think the max that I could ever invest in an IDO was maybe $80 to $100. So if that does a 500x, that's great. You've made some great money, but you can't put that 1K in there and then allow it to grow to 500,000 or 1 million. That just doesn't work. Now, apart from that, it's extremely difficult to find a coin that really performs this well. And even if you do, you need to be patient for a very, very, very long time. So that might be years that you'll just have to sit on that and wait it out. And that's extremely difficult. However, finding coins that do a 3x to 5x is actually pretty simple. We've shared lots of those in the DeFi Academy, and I'll just share a few examples with you. And not only is it pretty simple to find the 3 to 5x, but it also usually happens in a very short time span. So you could get that within just a couple of days, and then you can move on to the next. So for instance, we shared Cal. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Cal. So that's Phantasma's Energy. So that's a coin within the Phantasma chain that is used for the Phantasma chain. We shared that on November 15th. So that was about 11 to 12 cents. And then a few days later, so that was November 15th, and then on November 30th, so 2 weeks later, they hit an all-time high of about 38 cents. So if we divide 0.38 by 0.12 to take a conservative estimate, that was more than a 3x. And depending on where you got in, you could have even gotten in at 10 cents. I think that's the lowest it went. And then that would have been on almost 4x within just 2 weeks. So that's, as you can see, pretty simple and pretty fast as well. Now, another coin we shared was Mint Club. That's a social token on the BSC chain, and we shared that on October 25th. So that was at 0.000017, and then it took a bit longer to reach the all-time high, so November 18th. So that's that's about 3 weeks, but you wouldn't even have to wait until there. So for simplicity reasons, we'll just calculate 17 times 3, 0.000051. That would have been about here. So November 14th. So again, that's about 2.5 weeks later, and you had your 3x already. Another project and token we shared was the People token of Constitution DAO. So that was a project that aimed to buy a US Constitution, and I think they didn't manage to buy it, and therefore there was a bit of a price correction that you can't see in here. But then after that, it still went parabolic. I'm still not really sure for what reason, but as you can see, even if there's no reason, you can get a 3x very easily. So we shared that on November 15th, and that's not even on the charts here yet, but it was at pretty much the same price, so 0.006. So that's actually an ETH. And then just a couple of days later, the medium time high here was at 0.16. So if we just divide 0.16 by 0.004, so that was a 40x. So you can see how easy a 3x is. I mean, seriously, if you took that, you had to wait between November 15th, and then if you waited until here, November 27th, so that's a bit more than a week, 10 days more or less, and then you had a 40x. I mean, that's pretty crazy. And then it dipped to, so you could have played that multiple times as well, because it dipped and then it went even higher. So these are just a few examples. We shared more that did 3 to 5x's. So as you can see, that emphasizes my point. 3 to 5x is pretty simple to find. All right, now let me share my strategy step by step with you. It's really simple, because all you would have to do is find a 3x in the first example or a 5x in the second example, and then just do that a couple of times. So if we take the 3x example, you just have to do that 6 times. Not a whole lot, right? And if you just take your capital every time and find another 3x, you'll have 729,000 after 6 times, and then you need to have less than a 2x to get to 1 million. Now again, I really want to emphasize that this should really be money that you can afford to lose, because I know it gets pretty scary pretty quickly, because this is a lot of money, but you always need to think you're basically just losing 1k if things go wrong. So take 1k that you can totally afford to lose. It should be, ideally, it should be like 1 to maybe 5% of your portfolio. I definitely wouldn't go higher than that. Or if it's just money that you, I don't know, have extra from your job or something like that, definitely not your whole portfolio, and definitely not your whole savings account. So you always need to keep that in mind to actually deal with your emotions. If things go wrong, you lose that 1k. And you still have to think like that, even if things go wrong with 243k. So again, the idea is you have your diversified portfolio with a lot of different coins, especially big ones, safe ones. That's your main portfolio. And then you take a very small amount of that, something like 1%, take that out for this strategy. And then the idea is that you always take the whole amount and put it into a new coin. Now, what I would recommend with this strategy is for the first 2 to 3 times, these ones, you go into small caps. So that means something below 20 million market cap. So something pretty small. However, I would only do that for the first 3 times, because number one, these are way riskier than if you go into bigger market cap coins, but therefore it's usually much faster. So you have a higher chance of it 3xing very fast. And what's also good is that with these amounts, you don't have the slippage risk. So you can get in and get the same price for the whole amount that you're investing. However, if you take 27k or 81k and you want to invest that in a very small cap coin, something like 5 million, then you'll have some huge slippage. That means you push up the price because you act like a whale basically, and then not only you get a bad price, but only other people might see that, whales or also retailers, and then sell you out on that basically, and then they dump the price again. So I wouldn't recommend that when you get to those bigger numbers. So for the second part, I would go into mid caps or even into blue chips. So blue chips are basically the ones that are listed on page number 1 on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. So I probably wouldn't go into Bitcoin, because the 3x on Bitcoin is relatively, unrealistic in the short term. It's possible, but it would take quite a while. Ethereum, that is possible, but that probably wouldn't be my first choice either. But you could choose between the other ones. I'll tell you what to look out for in a second. But even better is going into mid cap, so that would be below 1 billion. So for instance, Phantom at the moment is below 1 billion. That's something I would probably consider, or something like Metis, so that's not even in the top 100 with a market cap of 350 million. So these are coins that are great for the second part. Okay, so how do you actually find good projects that 3x to 5x within a short amount of time? So my number one tip for you is to find strong ecosystems and go into the ecosystem coins, at least for the first 3 turns. So for the first 3 turns here, I will go into small caps, ecosystem coins in strong ecosystems. So to get a good overview, you can go on DeFi Llama, and my 3 favorite ecosystems at the moment are Terra Luna. So what you can do is they're either listed up here, the ecosystems, or you can click on the drop down and find even more. So Terra Luna is one that has performed really well, and that would be one option where you can look into the ecosystem coins. The next one I really like is Phantom at the moment, and we've also got a lot of ecosystem coins that you can choose from. And then the last one, as mentioned earlier, the last one I really like at the moment is Metis. So you've also got a couple of projects to choose from. Now, to actually find out which ones are suitable for 3 to 5x, which ones are really strong projects, you have 2 options. Either go on Twitter, on crypto Twitter, and you'll probably just need to do a whole lot of research there. So a couple of hours a day, or definitely a couple of hours per week to find those good projects. Or you can join the DeFi Academy. That is the second link in the description, where we share some good candidates, some candidates for a 3 to 5x or even more on a regular basis. We've just shared one that has done, I think, a 7x within 2 days or something like that, and we shared another one that will likely 3x within the next 2 days as well. So if you want to follow this strategy, that's probably the easier option to join the academy. And again, you need to keep in mind, you don't need to do a whole lot of trades. You don't need to have a 10x gem every second day. All you need is a 3 to 5x every couple of weeks, and you'll manage to get to $1 million within a couple of months. That's all you need. So you really need to keep that in mind. So even if you want to do the crypto Twitter research strategy, it will be very time consuming, but you don't need to find a new gem every day. Then my next step for you to find strong performers, so to find coins that will easily do a 3 to 5x, are to go in after a strong correction. So find a strong coin with a strong performance so far that is a good coin, that is a good project, and go in after a strong correction. So for instance, one option would be, as mentioned a couple of times already, would be Metis. So that's the performance of the last couple of weeks, and you see that has had a very good performance here. The all-time high was at 329, and then due to overall market conditions, that had a very strong correction. But the project in and of itself is still an extremely good and strong project that has some very good long-term possibility of growth and of price increase. So what I would look out for is, after such a strong correction, get in somewhere at the lows. So you had 3 opportunities to get in the lows. This one was the first one at around 100, then again, and then it even dipped below to 85. And that's actually where I got back in at, I think it was 86 or something like that. So pretty much at the bottom. And then from here at 85, if you go back to the all-time high, that's more than a 3x. Let's just calculate that again. What is 85 times 3? That's 255. So if it goes back to the all-time high, you have an almost 4x. And getting for a strong coin to get back to the last all-time high is not that difficult. It's in fact much easier than if we're in price discovery mode and you don't know where it's going. But what usually happens is that it goes, you can see that here actually. So it went into price discovery, then it had a correction, and then it just went a bit higher. So it usually stays in that same range of the last all-time high. So that's pretty predictable that this will happen. You just don't know when. And then after that, it usually has another retracement. So ideally, you get out somewhere after 3x, and then you can decide whether you want to trade it once again after the correction to get back in if you still think the fundamentals are strong and this has some more potential, or you find the next coin. Now, as mentioned in the beginning, you need a couple of prerequisites or characteristics, or however you want to call it. The other things that are really important that you need are patience, because sure, those coins might pump within a couple of days, but it might also take a couple of weeks. And especially if you miss a correction or if you miss a dump that's incoming in BTC and takes the whole market down, then it can take a very long time. So for instance, Metis is a really strong project and has had a very strong performance, but since we've just had a pump today, but we're still very far away from that all-time high. So in that case, even if you got in here at $85, you need to have some good patience, probably a couple of weeks to months until you have that 3x. The other thing that is really important is, first of all, you need to have some guts, because what you'll do is that at some point you'll have some pretty large sums here that go back into one coin. And sure, I mean, that just started with 1K, and you have to keep that in mind that it's basically just 1K. But still, if you take 240K and you have to put that into one coin, that can be pretty scary. But that's part of this strategy, and that's the only way it works in this particular way. And the last characteristic that you totally need is to have your emotions under control. I know this is really difficult, and it's definitely something that can hinder a very good price performance or a very good trading performance, is that you might FOMO into a coin after it has pumped already, or you might panic sell when we have a dip. So you really need to have your strategy to be in place, and to be sure that you're choosing solid coins with solid performances, that you don't freak out in the middle of it. So these are the most important characteristics and prerequisites that you need, and you'll learn all of that in either a free masterclass or in the DeFi Academy. So both links are in the description, you can check them out for yourself. But in any case, you really need to have some experience in crypto for this strategy to work, and you need to have some money to spare that is not your whole portfolio, ideally a very small percentage of your portfolio. All right, so this is my simple strategy of how to turn 1K into 1 million. This will be one of my personal projects as well, so I'll try that out, and then I'll probably update you in a couple of months. So I'll give myself a couple of months, definitely at least 6 months, to try this out, and that's what you should do as well. No financial advice, of course. There's no guarantee that you'll be a millionaire in 6 months, but if you give yourself a couple of months and be patient, then this should work out if you've got those characteristics and those prerequisites. If you like this video, hit the like button down below, share with your friends, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!